Hey, Dan.
What's up, Carolyn? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. So we're here today to talk about the June issue of Bonezone. We had a special section feature theme on supplier solutions, just how to essentially build stronger supplier relationships. Can you just share a little bit about who you spoke to and what we covered?
Yeah, absolutely. We really dove into that subject and explored it both from the OEM side and the supplier side. The first aspect of the issue was supplier solutions, which is our new feature this year, and this month's edition focused on full service suppliers. So they partner with orthopedic OEMs from the first stages of product development and design through to successful market launch. We connected with Autocam, Exalta, Vantedge Medical, Komet, and Ensera, and they shared, what they look for in OEM partners, how they can help meet their needs, and what a true strategic partnership looks like. But those are just a few of the suppliers we talked to. We have a complete listing on the Bonezone supplier directory that is worth exploring just to get a full sense of all the suppliers that offer full service capabilities. And I think that's an important aspect of successful product development in today's orthopedic world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as we've seen more mergers and acquisitions take place on the supply chain side with contract manufacturers, right? We just learned last week that Orchid and Tecomet finalized their merger. We're seeing more companies become more full solutions providers and really, seek to have the capabilities from end to end for the OEM. And, I think, based on our discussions and what we've seen in the industry, that's just going to continue to evolve. I think as contract manufacturers probably do get larger and add more capabilities to their portfolios.
No, that's a great point. And along those lines, we also explored ways to make the supply chain stronger. Through the relationship with OEMs and contract manufacturers. Rights the importance of forecasting and right sizing supply inventories. Those are really foundational elements of successful product development process. And we talked to, as Francesco Siccardi, CEO of Medacta, said, there's nothing happens without a strong supply chain. So, we really thought those were important topics to cover in this issue, and I think we did a good job with it.
Great. Moving on, this issue was our focus for the OMTEC Awards, right? In just a couple of weeks. It's almost towards the end of May here. In a couple of weeks, we'll be handing out the OMTEC Awards to 3 OEMs. Share a little bit more about those 3 companies and their technologies.
Yeah, it is hard to believe that we're fast approaching OMTEC. But yeah, super excited to get on site and greet the award winners and celebrate their successes. We're going to recognize Stryker for their development of the Triathlon Gold, which is an option for patients with metal sensitivity and cement allergy concerns. It's Stryker's first additively manufactured femoral component and the first produced with titanium nitride coating. So we spoke to the developers of that technology and implant and featured them in part of the article. The second award winner we talked about is Carlsmed, who's advancing personalized surgery in the spine segment. Their Prevo technology, it combines patient-specific surgical planning and 3D printed implants to create a data-driven feedback loop that informs the design of implants and also improves patient care in lumbar and cervical fusion. So definitely a worthy award winner in our minds, and we're excited to see them next month in Chicago. And also Think Surgical. They're a really impressive company who is really gaining some momentum recently with their open robotic surgery platform. They're really challenging the status quo in the joint replacement space with their T-Mini handheld device, which is approved for use with a growing number of implants, especially among the major players in this space. So, they're an important part of enabling technology moving forward, which is a huge trend in orthopedics, and I think they're going to be at the forefront of a lot of those efforts. So, again, excited to see them in Chicago and celebrate their success.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be celebrating them with during an awards ceremony at the keynote, and then all of the companies will be speaking during a panel discussion on Thursday, which will be recorded and on our YouTube channel at the end of June. So absolutely worth, checking back to catch what they have to say. But one of the things I think, as we were talking about the awards was just the amount of innovation that's taking place across the entire orthopedic industry. So you just mentioned knee replacement, spine, and robotics. But when we circle back to the June issue here, our spotlight was really on the trauma market, which also is seeing I would say quite a bit of evolution and advancement, specifically when it comes to core trauma products. Who did we speak to for the June issue, and what were some of the insights you took away?
Yeah, we first, presented a market update with the insights from Mike Evers, the OrthoWorld's senior market analyst, who, took a great deep dive into the segment, talked about the trends, the important numbers. The segment has generated $9.6 billion in revenue last year, which is up nearly 6% from the previous year. And he said that's really has to do with, as you mentioned, a lot of the developments in core trauma. So we coupled that article with a look at some of the new technologies in fracture fixation, which is really evolving from, providing mechanical stability to creating that stability, but doing it in a way that with a minimal impact to surrounding anatomy. I think, the people we spoke to said that surgeons are really interested in solutions that, not simplify, that's probably too strong of a word, but help them perform complex procedures easier, reduce OR time, and promote reproducibility, and again, in a way that saves biology. So I think those are the major trends in the trauma market that we're exploring in this article, and definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. And I will say too, Mike has a video on the state of the trauma market here on our YouTube channel. So if that is a segment you're interested in, certainly there's a greater deep dive in that video. So finally, who was our finishing touch? Who did we interview for the back page?
Yeah, it was Oran Price Bloom, founder and chief innovation officer of OSSIO. He just had a great conversation with them. The company is really doing some exciting things recently based on their OSSIOFiber platform technology, which is a material technology that provides secure bone fixation and fully integrates a native anatomy with that and leaves no permanent hardware behind. So they're really impressive company. They're growing recently. And Oran just spent a lot of time with me. He discussed, his background, the company's beginnings, and especially when they focused initially on the foot and ankle market and why they did that. Their expansion to the sports medicine space recently, and really talked about how their company is leading the way in taking orthopedic procedures that are already achieving excellent outcomes and making them even better. And he's going to have an important part of that evolution, I think, in orthopedics. And it was just a really, really interesting conversation. I'm excited for people to hear it. And again, that'll be on our YouTube channel, the full conversation, and I think it's worth checking out.
Absolutely. An exciting company. I heard their executives speak at the Canaccord Musculoskeletal conference earlier this year, and then had the ability to sit down with some of their executives back in March. And you can just feel the excitement that they have for the company and for their growth. But also, I mean, there was a packed room when I saw them, standing room only at the conference. And then at AAOS, just every time I went to their booth, it was so many people interested in the technology. And so, I think that is one, very exciting for their company, but it is really exciting just for the space in general, when you get to see that from, a company that is doing something new, novel, innovative, and, they've caught on and are really seeing commercial success.
Yeah, and along those lines, they just opened a facility in Florida.
Yeah.
Till to expand into the U.S. market and, you know, be closer to distribution channels and surgeon customers. So they were really excited about that step. And I think it's just the, you know, the next phase of their evolution as an exciting company to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else we should know about the June issue?
No, just, you know, excited to wrap it up and focus on OMTEC, and we hope to see everyone there. It's like we said, it's hard to believe it's only a few weeks away, but super exciting too. So can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we will leave it there. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on our latest videos and market analysis. And you can read the latest issue of the Bonezone magazine as well as subscribe to it at bonezonepub.com.